and then we can get started with some of our questions from our viewers, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. All praise belongs to Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah Jalla wa Ala be upon his final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and viewers at home. So it's Alhamdulillah, there has been, as I have noticed, an upsurge, an increase in the usage of social media in all its forms and all the platforms, in the spreading of beneficial knowledge, amongst other things, of course, being spread. But those organizations, those, especially the channel here as well, at Eman Channel, have been working, mashallah, behind the scenes, trying to contact the people of knowledge or those who can put forward some benefit for the community so that they can put that online. And there isn't a day that goes past now that, subhanallah, there is 1, 2 or 3 lectures that you can listen to online so that you can benefit in your deen, which is a great sign for us, alhamdulillah. As well as there is lots of negativity in the situation that we are in, we should also remain very positive and try to extract the positives from the situation that we are in. And this is one great positive that I see, at least, alhamdulillah, that the Islamic knowledge is really being put out there, and that the brothers and sisters really should be utilizing that. And the second point I want to mention as well is that if we look at the situation as it stands at the moment, where people are still being told to stay in their homes and only go out for reasons which are specified, and unless it's necessary for you to leave, that we find people are trying to find out solutions for the situation. But we should always start with ourselves, start with our families, in trying to really get the best of, or best out of the situation. And I think that it has given us, if it hasn't already, the penny hasn't dropped, it's an opportunity for you to reconnect with your family and for you to realize the benefits of connecting with your family and knowing your family, where there was maybe one point of time really, maybe you were further away from them and separated from them in a way that really, when you look back on it, it wasn't really a good setup. So this is an opportunity for us. So as everything is closed at the moment, shops, masajid, and in one way we can say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is purifying us, if we can look at it like that, is wanting us to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah Jalla wa Ala has caused this, allowed this to happen, and it will eventually, we will overcome this bi'idhnillah ta'ala, by Allah's permission and mercy. But the thing is that when the masajid reopen, when the malls, they reopen, the Muslims, in what direction will they go to? It's not either or. It doesn't mean that if you go to the masjid you can't go to the mall, if you go to the mall you can't go to the masjid. But really in your heart, what is the place that you have a desire to go to? And maybe at times like this really allows you to see what you see as important, what you are missing. If you are missing things which maybe have of no benefit, then it's an opportunity for you to look at yourself and to reconnect with your deen. Now, these are just some thoughts I had in my mind.
Thank you so much, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair for the reminder. We're going to get started with some questions from our viewers now, inshallah. So our first question for today, Shaykh, is Assalamu alaikum. Is it a good practice to allow my son aged 13 to lead the salah at home? Will it be valid?
Right. So if he's 13 years old, I assume he's reached the age of puberty. And even if he hasn't, if he is a child who is aware of how to pray, understands the prayer, understands the movements and what to say, then it's no problem in him leading the salah, whether that prayer is fard or nafil, whether it's an obligatory or a voluntary prayer. And from time to time it's good. It's good to allow them to have the responsibility of leading the prayer. It has some responsibility on their shoulders. You know, you know, in Islam we have a good practice. We should have a good practice of teaching leadership, and leading the prayer is one form of leadership. So every time, you know, from time to time, let them lead the prayer as long as they know what they're doing in their prayer. There's no problem in that, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Our next question is going to be from our caller. So, Assalamu alaikum to our first caller. Okay, so that caller is not on the line anymore. So, if we could ask our brother or sister to give us a call back and we can take your question, inshallah. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp. Our question. So, our next question, Shaykh, is Assalamu alaikum. In Islam, breaking family bonds or ties is a sin. But if our relatives don't want to communicate with us or don't want to fulfill our rights, then what should we do, or will we be sinful?
Yes, you are right in mentioning that in Islam it is forbidden to cut the ties of kinship. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا يدخل الجنة قطاع, that the one who cuts the ties of kinship will not enter the paradise. So this is a major sin for a person who cuts the ties of kinship. Now, quite often when this question is asked, you find that Muslims have one or two positions that they need to be in. Either you need to have upholding the ties means that you need to be visiting them every day, calling them every day, or there's absolutely zero contact. Maybe there is a middle path in that, depending on, of course, who that relative is. If you like, your mother and your father have a pass on that. There's under no circumstance are you allowed to distance yourselves from them. You need to do your utmost to resolve the situation with your parents in a way that's the way that's best, with wisdom and whatnot. Of course, the dynamics of everyone's relationship is different, but the status of the mother and the father is very important in Islam, and you need to work on that, inshallah ta'ala. But maybe there's a middle path. Of course, each person's situation is different, and the advice I'm giving is very general. And maybe if a person has a specific situation, maybe they can go and speak with somebody to find out really how they can resolve the issue, inshallah ta'ala.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question, Shaykh, is in the month of Ramadan, is Taraweeh equal to Tahajjud, or do we have to pray Tahajjud again?
Okay, so over the next couple of weeks, I assume, because we are very close, less than 2 weeks now to Ramadan. May Allah allow us to reach the blessed month of Ramadan. Ameen. Any prayer that is offered after Salat al-Isha, any prayer can be considered night prayer. Okay, Witr has its own name, but any prayers that are offered after Salat al-Isha are considered the night prayer. So, if we can divide the night into three, you have the first third, the middle third, and the last third. The last third of the night is the best time for you to offer the night prayer. You want to call it Qiyamul Layl or Tahajjud. Taraweeh, traditionally, okay, is something that's offered straight after Salat al-Isha. Something that the Prophet ﷺ established during his time for about 3 or 4 nights and then stopped. This was to allow and show the Sahaba that it's not an obligation. So therefore, that the Muslims would then pray in their homes. It is after that during the Khilafah of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, that the Taraweeh, which is established pretty much after Salat al-Isha, was re-established during his time, okay? So whether it is Taraweeh, but if it's after Salat al-Isha, still in general comes under the night prayer, okay? So whether you slept or whether you didn't sleep, you can offer the night prayer, okay? Whether it's Tahajjud, Qiyamul Layl, I didn't sleep before, okay? You know, the opinion, oh, therefore you can't offer it. No, you can. There's no condition for you to sleep, okay? And then you can offer the night prayer. There's no evidence to state that. So especially with the short nights that we have. So these are kind of the words, mustalahat, the words that are used to describe the night prayer, whether it's in the earlier part or the latter part of the night. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Thank you so much for the answer. This brings us to the end of this part of our show, Shaykh. So we're going to take a short break. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in with us so far. We're going to take our first break of the show for a few minutes, and then after that we'll be back to continue with our show. So once we're back, brothers and sisters, pick up the phone if you have any questions and give us a call on 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you can send your questions to our WhatsApp number on 074 2239 8833. You're also able to use this number to give us a call if you're calling from outside of the UK, if that makes it easier, inshallah. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to Ask Eman live right now. We're going to be here with you, brothers and sisters, for the next 45 minutes or so until 9 p.m. So if you have any questions, give us a call on our usual number and you'll find more details coming and going at the bottom left side of your screen, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp, and the question is there an authentic dua to recite after Taraweeh prayer? Yes, that's the first question.
Specifically Taraweeh?
Yep.
I don't know anything. Allahu A'lam, I don't know.
Okay. Our next question, Shaykh. Does a child that is not of age required to do wudu to hold the mushaf?
Yeah, so the Mus'haf, the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is something which is no doubt sacred. And so therefore, it has to be treated accordingly. So therefore, when we hold the Mus'haf, we will be in the state of wudu. This being the case, then the children, if they want to read from the Quran, then they should make wudu. You don't give it to children, because if very young children may not know how to carry it, maybe they may throw it or something like that, so you need to be very careful. But if they're old enough to hold the Mus'haf, then want to read from it, then they should make wudu now.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is, I haven't prayed my witr salah for over a year due to it not being a fard. Please, could you give a reminder on the importance of witr?
Well, there are many ahadith in which state about the importance of Salat al-Witr. From those narrations is the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, in which she stated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never leave two particular sunnah prayers, the two before Salat al-Fajr and Salat al-Witr. And witr is the most emphasized, with regards to the majority of scholars, that is, the most emphasized voluntary prayer. So it is very important to offer, even if it is one rak'ah. The Prophet ﷺ said in another sound hadith that the prayer or the night prayer is mathna mathna. You pray in twos. And then if one of you fears that Fajr will come, falyutir, then let them pray witr. Okay? So this is a second narration. Also, there are other narrations which maybe really emphasize the importance of witr. From them, al-witr haqq, that the witr is a reality, it is the truth, and which you should establish. And in fact, some of the ulama went to the view that it is almost like seen as an obligation, wajib. And saying that it can, be prayed as one rak'ah, something very khafif, very light. You don't have to make the qunut in the witr. After you've prayed Salat al-Isha, okay, you pray a two sunnah after, then just stand up for one more rak'ah witr, and then you have completed your witr, alhamdulillah. So, yeah, maybe the majority of scholars say it's not an obligation, but it is, as they all agree, the most emphasized of all of the voluntary prayers. And really, it's not befitting to leave it. Allahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is how to memorize the Quran and to review it.
How? Well, with the Quran, it's important to have a teacher. They will set a program for you. It requires consistency. It requires you to be studious. It requires commitment. It requires for you to be sincere, to memorize the Quran for the right reasons. If you bear these all in mind, inshallah ta'ala, with hard work, Allah Azza wa Jalla will allow you to memorize the Quran, inshallah ta'ala.
Thank you, Shaykh. And right now, considering everyone's on lockdown, Shaykh, we complain that there's not enough time during the day before to spend time with the Quran, or maybe to even pray on time. If we're finding ourselves that even during the lockdown, we're probably still neglecting our salah on time, we're still not finding the time to read the Quran, what do you advise, Shaykh, and what's needed or is necessary to maybe shake us out of that? Because maybe it's not a matter of being busy.
I agree with you. So there's a reality check. And the reality check is that if before this happened, you had excuses, and you made excuses to say, well, I can't pray my salah on time because I'm busy. I have this to do, I have that to do. If you're in that same position now, meaning that even when you have all this free time and you're still delaying your prayers, 100% sure those excuses you were given before, they weren't excuses. And it's a very bad state. So therefore, it is a reality check for you, that even in this time when, and of course, everybody has different responsibilities. Not to say that everybody's at home, because of course, lots of key workers, and their situation is different. But those, as you mentioned, who are at home, and they're delaying their prayers still, when there's no reason to, and they look back on themselves and they think, I was still making excuses when I was like that. And even now I'm free, I'm still delaying my prayers. Then you need to fix up your situation very quickly, inshallah ta'ala. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla allow us to offer our salawat on time, without delay. Allahumma ameen.
I mean, Shaykh, and it makes me imagine that may Allah get us through this healthy and safe.
Ameen.
But what if after this is all over, we go back to normality, and then you start thinking, look at all of that time I had.
Yeah, it's true. It's like anything. There's always, whatever situation you're in, you can always look back, and you can always do better. There's always going to be shortcomings, because that's the nature of who we are as human beings. We are creation that will always fall short. We want to minimize that. That's the point. not to maximize and have lots of shortcomings, but to minimize the shortcomings. And then, I meaning maximize your time in beneficial things. And the things where you fall down, you make mistakes, there are shortcomings, that's when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you, okay? Don't do it the other way around. Where you have the majority is of shortcomings and mistakes, and you're only really benefiting from your time in a small way. Do it the other way around. No.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. With that, we're going to go to our next caller of the show. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show.
My name is Ibrahim and I'm calling from Canada. I'm memorizing the Quran, and so I heard some people, they say that if you have honey or black seed oil, it helps with your memory. I want to know if that is true.
Okay. First of all, thank you for calling all the way from Canada and for tuning in. May Allah bless you. So, Sheikh, is that true that black seed oil or honey can help you with your memorization of the Quran?
Yeah, so mashallah is a very noble act you're doing, brother Ibrahim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you to be from Hufadh, the memorizers of the Quran. Ameen. With regards to honey and black seed, well, we know in honey that there is a cure. The Prophet ﷺ said in many sound hadith that there is a cure in three, and one of them is an asal, which is honey. And we know also that the Prophet ﷺ told us that habbat sauda, or the black seed, is a cure for everything, except maut, of course, except death. So they're used for cure when maybe somebody is sick or somebody wants to remain healthy. You can have the intention when consuming these. I don't know of anything, Allahu A'lam, myself personally, to say that when you are consuming and taking black seed and honey, that actually specifically strengthens your memory. I don't know. Maybe إنما الأعمال بالنيات إنما أعمال بالنيات. The actions are by their intention. So you seek good things through this, maybe through this way, but I don't know anything specific, and Allah is best.
Thank you, Sheikh. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp, and the question is: I'm barber and I give people slits in eyebrow and line in the head. Is my income haram? You know those
slits?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So with regards to the services that we offer as Muslims, we're responsible for that. So things which in its origin, if they're permissible to do, then you can do that. How they behave after that, then that's up to you. But you actually participating in something which Islamically is an issue, then it's not allowed you to do that, not allowed for you to do that. So if you're a barber, by all means be a barber. Okay, mashallah, it's a good cutting people's hair is absolutely fine. But you cutting people's hair, which in matters which Islam doesn't allow, then you're not allowed to do that. Okay? It's not, for example, to say, well, they take the responsibility for having that cut. Well, you made the cut for them. Okay? I mean, I can't sell somebody alcohol and say, well, he's responsible for it. Me selling alcohol is haram. Me doing something which in itself is not permitted, I'm not allowed to do. Okay? And things like, slits in the eyebrows, this is not for Muslim to behave like. This is something which, is taken from other ways of life and things like that. And I think, as Muslims, we should be careful who our teachers are and whom we're going to follow. So these styles and things like that, listen, people look at me, maybe he's got some white hairs in his beard, he's an old guy, he's not really in touch with the shabab, with the youth, of what's going on and things like that. Okay, but the reality is that can give you Islamic position, whether a person is 80, 60, 40 or 20, okay? We should bear in mind that we should try to uphold an Islamic character, okay? It doesn't mean you need to be defined like this. There is some flexibility in the matter, and there's certain things you need to avoid, okay? So having these cuts and shapes and lines and things in your head, really, you should stay away from. And, bear in mind that, we want to take Islam forward and develop in the best way. Wallahu alam.
Thank you, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in so far. We're going to take a short break now for a few minutes, and then we'll be back to continue with our show. So once we're back, brothers and sisters, you're very welcome to pick up the phone and call us on 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you can send your questions on 074 2239 8833. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone watching at home, and welcome back to today's live Ask Eman show. We're going to be here with you up until 9 p.m. tonight, brothers and sisters. So to reach us with any questions you may have, give us a call on 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, send us your questions from WhatsApp on 074 2239 8833. So, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp, Shaykh, and the question is actually from our caller. So, Assalamu alaikum to our next caller of the show. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Halima calling from London.
Welcome to the show, sister. And your question?
My question is, if you've been a COVID-19 victim, a survivor,
Yeah.
right, and like during Ramadan, because this thing affects the immune system, but you feel it in you that you will not be able to fast, what's the ruling? Do you have to wait until everything is over until you feel you can pay it back, or do you pay the money to the poor?
Okay. Do you have any other questions for us today?
No, that's it for now.
Thank you so much for your call, sister. You can stay on the line until the question is answered, or you can listen in over the television, inshallah. So the sister's asking if you've had the coronavirus and you've recovered, alhamdulillah, but through Ramadan you're still feeling a bit weak. Are you able to wait until you're better and feeling strong enough to fast?
Okay.
Because I think the recovery is quite a long time.
Okay.
For the virus.
Yeah, right, sure. Okay. So if we put the word COVID-19 to one side,
Yeah.
with regards to fasting, whatever illness that you have, if by fasting it delays your recovery, meaning that you are ill, not well enough to fast, that by fasting it delays your recovery or makes you even more unwell, then you shouldn't fast. Okay? If you are well enough to fast, then you simply fast. That's it, okay? May Allah Azza wa Jalla give you a speedy recovery. And we still have 2 weeks away for Ramadan. And it's a great opportunity for us to get close to Allah Jalla wa Ala. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla protect us all and allow those who have health issues to recover. But as I mentioned, that if you're not well enough to fast, and by fasting it makes you more unwell or delays your recovery, that you simply just don't fast. But if you're well enough to fast, then the obligation upon you is to fast. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is from WhatsApp, and the question is: are those men or women who pass away of the coronavirus given the status of shaheed in Jannah, and new regulations means that bodies are buried in coffins? Is this Islamically allowed given the circumstances?
Okay, so there's two questions here. I'll answer the second one first with regards to being buried in coffins due to the current situation. Well, then this is the law. You have no choice in the matter. And that being the case, then you go ahead with you do that. And there's no sin upon anybody. Absolutely not. If that's the regulations, then you do that, okay, first and foremost. Secondly, with regards to whether they are considered to be martyrs, now we know that there are certain illnesses or diseases that if a person, or if in the manner of their death, if they die in that way, then they will be considered to be a martyr. It is important that when we, give or somebody comes under these hadith as a martyr, it is not just they're a martyr, they're a shaheed, bismillah, because it's a very difficult time and, we'll just make them shaheed. It doesn't work like this, okay? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy upon all those who passed away. Now, there are certain, if a person passes away, because really the crux of the matter is that, if you like, the Prophet said of a person who dies because of the plague, ta'un, that they will be shaheed, inshallah ta'ala. Is this scenario, is this considered the plague? There's a long discussion between the scholars. Allahu a'lam. Allah knows best. But if a person passes away, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them the very best, have mercy upon them, to make it easy for them in the hereafter, to allow them to remain steadfast in their grave. Allahumma give them nur and width and spaciousness in their grave. Ameen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is best.
Ameen. Thank you so much, Shaykh. Our next question is, at this time of the epidemic, can we pray Jum'ah at home when masajid are closed and we are more than 3 people? And the second point is, if we can, what is the level of Islamic knowledge one needs to have if we do read Jum'ah at home? Knowledge of the one leading the prayer, i.e. the khatib.
Okay. So the majority of the ulama are of the view that in a situation like this, that you do not offer Jum'ah at your home, that you pray Salatul Dhuhr 4 rak'at. This is the vast majority of the scholars. There is a minority view that you can pray Jum'ah, that you pray 2 rak'ah with at least 3 people, including the imam. So 3 is sufficient for the khutbah and the jama'ah, a congregational prayer that you're going to do. What's the minimum amount? Well, there is a minimum amount in that they should say you should have, say, 1 ayah of the Quran and 1 hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in each of the 2 khutbahs. Okay? And I have seen some prepared khutbahs that you can read from. If a person follows that view, they're entitled to that. But I'm of the view, Allahu Alam, is that in a situation like this, that you pray Salat al-Dhuhr in your home, and inshallah ta'ala you're rewarded for what you would usually do. Okay, don't feel that you're missing out on reward and whatnot. Anything that you were able to do while healthy or while able to do, but for whatever reason you cannot, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. Okay? Wallahu alam.
Thank you so much, Shaykh.
Inshallah.
Thank you for your answer. We're going to go to our next caller of the show now. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, brother. I can hear you. What's your question?
Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum. What's your name?
My name is Zaid.
Zaid.
Yes.
MashaAllah. That's a lovely name. And how old are you?
I'm 12.
MashaAllah. And you have your parents' permission to be calling us, right?
Yeah, I do.
Alhamdulillah. You can go ahead. What's your question?
So my first question is, if I'm reading Kalima Shahadat right. So Kalima Shahadat, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Is that right?
Yep, that's the tashahhud.
Okay. And the second question is, say if a body is like dead and for several days it's not buried, and like with the body, the soul like roam around and see everyone.
MashaAllah. Okay.
And yeah, my first question is, you know Kalima Tamjid, do you read it like this? Kalima Tamjid Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar, or do you read Kalima Tamjid Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah Allahu akbar?
What was that last one?
Is that
what?
correct?
What's the reason? What's the reason for saying this?
Is that the correct way to say it? Was he pronouncing
Yeah,
saying the words
mashallah.
that dhikr?
Very good. MashaAllah, very good.
MashaAllah. Thank you so much for your call, young brother Zaid. Stay tuned for your second question. Inshallah, the Shaykh will answer it right now.
Okay, so Zaid, mashallah, his pronunciation is very good, mashallah. I'm sure that he will make a good qari of the Quran as well. So he should maybe put his efforts also into reciting, if not already, in reciting the Quran. طيب. As for before the body is buried, does the souls, they roam around and visit people, see people? There's no evidence to say this. We have no proof. There's nothing from to say that this is established. And it's important that when a person passes away, this is to do with the unseen, the ilm al-ghayb. And we can't talk about something or establish something unless we have evidence to do so, okay? So there's no evidence to state that before the body is buried, that the souls are roaming around, maybe they are here with us, you know, things like that. There's no evidence to say that. So the origin is to say no. Allahu A'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much to our young brother Zaid for giving us a call and asking that question. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be back after a few minutes to continue with our show up until 9 p.m. inshallah. So for now, stay tuned everyone, and we'll be back shortly. Wassalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the last part of today's Ask Eman Live. We're going to be here with you, brothers and sisters, for the next 10 minutes, inshallah. So if you have any questions, pick up the phone, give us a call on the number that's coming and going, or either of the numbers that are coming and going at the bottom left side of your screen, inshallah. So, assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back.
Wa alaikum
After the
salam wa
break.
rahmatullah.
We're going to go now to our next caller of the show. So, assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your name?
My name is Mamandi.
Okay, welcome to the show. And your question?
My question is, if someone want to go to join to her husband, and then he went to apply the visa, and then he make a dua that if he got the visa and if he travel to her house, join to her husband, and then she made the promise to Allah that she's gonna fast, and then after she came to join to her husband, but she still didn't fast, she still didn't fulfill that promise. Can she still fast for that? And can she still, because I do Mondays and Thursdays, can she combine? Can she have intention for that and combine it to that? I don't know.
You get that, Shaykh?
I think so.
All right. Should we go for it?
We'll try, inshallah.
Bismillah.
Yeah. All right. So what I understood is that I think some brother made a promise to fast some days if something happened. Okay, I think it happened, but that person hasn't fasted those days yet. Okay, this in Arabic is called an nadhar, to make a vow. And vows need to be fulfilled. You've made it an obligation upon yourself to fast, let's say, 2 days or 5 days. So you say, I'll fast 5 days if I pass my exam. If you pass your exam, it's now a must for you to fast those 5 days. That remains like a debt that you owe to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fast those 5 days. If you think, I can't fast 5 days, what can you do? So the expiation for that is just like the expiation for a person making an oath. And that would be, in this situation, to feed or to clothe 10 people. You choose one of them. To feed 10 people, individual people, okay? Or to clothe 10 people. If you can't afford to do that, then, well, you know, if you made a vow to fast and you say you can't do that, well, if you can't feed or clothe 10 people, then you're going to go to fasting, which is 3 days, which would be less if you made a promise to fast 5, that is. But that's the way option out. Okay, if you can do that. If you can't do that, then those days that you, it could be £50. You could say, I promise to give £50 in charity. Okay, that could be. It depends what the situation is. But that's the gist of I think answering the question, the sister's question. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. We're going to move on now to our next caller of the show. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To yourself and Shaykh Wasim Kempson.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
I have a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yes, you can go ahead.
A menstruating woman during her days, can she, without touching the Mus'haf, recite as much as she wants from the Quran, whether it is from memory or nawfira? And the second question, similarly, is she allowed during her days to respond to the adhan as the normal person would do normally when hears the muadhin doing the adhan?
That while she's on her menses?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, fine. Sure.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Okay, so it's a mahalul khilaf, there's a difference amongst the ulama. However, my view, wallahu alam, is that it is permitted for a woman to recite the Quran while on her monthly cycle. There's no dalil, inshallah, wallahu alam, to prevent her from doing that. If she wants to recite from the Mus'haf, then she should place between her and the Mus'haf some form of barrier. She doesn't touch it directly. So she can wear some gloves, that's fine, inshallah ta'ala, or have the Quran in a stand and she turns the pages with a pencil or pen or something like that. She can do that as well. She can recite from her device as well. The device is not considered to be a Mus'haf. However, when turning the pages, if she does it from the edge of the screen, okay, maybe this is a better way of doing it. That's the first issue. Second issue is that she hears the adhan, then she can repeat what the mu'adhin says. La haraj, no problem, inshallah ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ did not differentiate who can and who cannot say it. Rather, it was am. إذا سمعتم النداء, if you hear the call, فقولوا مثل ما يقول المؤذن. Then you say just as the mu'adhin is saying. So it is permitted for her to say that, as well as making the dua after the adhan. Allahumma rabba hadhi da'wat at-tamma, until the end. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. We're going to go to our next caller now. So, assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. My name is Rafiq. I'm from London.
MashaAllah, brother Rafiq. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I had a question regarding board games, in particular the ones that involve using a dice. I wanted to know the ruling around it, because I've heard that it's fine to play dice games if there's no gambling involved and they don't form an obstacle to the obligatory prayers and stuff. But I need the Shaykh to clarify.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
That's it, bro.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been asked this question before.
Yeah.
On this platform as well as other platforms, and I was of the view that that playing with dice, along with certain conditions, was allowed. Okay, so that there's no gambling involved, and that also it doesn't, leading to wasting time and things like that. However, having spoke to a number of people looking at the situation again, I think that it is safer to stay away from playing with dice. Okay, it's safer to stay away from playing with dice, and it's not restricted to backgammon games, which is a minority view, and has evidences for that. However, I think the safer view is to stay away from playing with dice and try to find some other alternative, whether it's, you know, you've got numbers in a bag or something that you can pull out. But playing with dice specifically is, now of the view, Wallahu alam, is better to stay away from playing with the dice. I don't know what's best.
Thank you, Shaykh. Okay, so we'll go to our next caller now. Assalamu alaikum to our sister from Birmingham, I believe. Welcome to the show. What's your question for us today?
Walaikum salam. When I call and I said my question was about like for example, I went to apply the visa and then I make a dua and I said when I come to join my husband, I will be fast. And I didn't fast for like so many years now. So I remember that I need to fast. So just last week I was fasting Monday and I said I intend that I'm gonna be fasting that fast, but I didn't say that I'm gonna be fasting like 5 days or 1 day or 3 days. Yeah, I just said that I'm gonna be fast when I go to my husband. So I don't know what's the ruling of that.
So it was just like a general intention that you might fast on that day?
Yeah, I just said that if I got the visa, if I join to my husband, I will be fast. But since then, I didn't fast for like so many years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the sister took an oath to fast.
Right, okay. So she needs to fast that day then?
Yeah, she's asking now what to do.
Right, she fasted a day.
But she fasted 1 day, from what I understand already. Sister, correct me. She fasted 1 day already.
Okay.
But she didn't make that intention to fast all the fasts she owes consecutively.
Okay, no problem.
I think. Is that correct, sister?
Labas. Okay. So if she made that oath, then she needs to finish. She needs to fast those days, quite simply. If she fasted a day previous and didn't intend that day to be part of that, then that goes down as a nafila for you, and those days remain in your account, inshallah ta'ala. They need to be done separately, by the way. I.e. that a person might say, well, Ramadan is coming up, and I'll, as they say, kill two birds with one stone. I'll fast on Ramadan, it counts for that. You can't do that. They need to be done separately because they're both obligations upon you, and you can't join the two obligations together with the one action here. Those days would need to be fasted separately from the days of Ramadan.
Does that answer your question, sister?
So it's going to be separated fasted. It's not going to be like combined to like Thursday and Monday, Friday.
Okay, so what have you fasted already from what you owe?
Because I do Mondays and Thursday, Friday. Monday and Thursdays fasting.
Okay.
Because of that promise I made that I'm gonna be fast, so I intend I combine it there. I don't know whether you understand.
Okay, yeah. If you want to fast those obligatory days on the Monday and Thursday, you can do that. No problem, inshallah ta'ala.
Is that okay?
That's fine then. I already did it, so I just want to make sure whether I was right
Okay.
or not.
As long as you intended it was making up for those days that you promised to do, then that's absolutely fine, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah accept.
Thank you so much, sister, for your call. Thank you to everyone who's joined us today. Thank you to Shaykh Wasim as well. That brings us to the end of today's show. If you have any more questions you'd like to give us a call, we'll be back tomorrow again, live for another hour from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. inshallah. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.